Hey guys, my name is Hiraku Murakami. I'm here with NovaEdge Academics, and today we'll be covering another video on the timeline that you need to know for your IB. So you probably don't know if you're in your first year, but second year can be very chaotic. You have a lot of deadlines that you need to complete in a very short amount of time. There are some things you can do over the summer, you can do beforehand in your first year. So we'll be covering over when to do your IAs, when the deadlines are for the IAs, when to do your TOK essay exhibition, when to do your EEs, as well as your university application, and when you need to expect to finish everything. So first I need to talk about the difference between two types of deadlines. One is your internal deadline and the other is your external deadline. The internal deadline are set by your teachers and by your IB coordinator, whereas your external deadline is the hard deadline set by the IB. Now this hard deadline, you won't know about it because they'll only tell to your schools and your teachers individually. They won't announce it to the students, or it's not public in their website. So what we'll be focusing on is the internal deadline and when you'll be expected to finish everything. Now this will slightly differ by school. I'm going to talk to you about the general deadline that's provided, assuming that you have a May exam schedule. So first let's talk about your IAs, and I'm going to talk about science IAs first, because let's say econ or math IAs, they have different types of deadlines. Now for your science IAs, right, let's say physics, chemistry, and bio, you need to be able to do your labs first. And the IAs, I'm going to talk more about it in details in another video. I'm also going to be writing an entire IA from 0 to 100. I'll also be talking about the ideas they can use for your physics, chemistry, and bio IAs. So stay tuned for those videos. If you'd like to see those, then please leave something in below in your comment. Subscribe and like this video to show your support. Now, the science IAs, because you're doing a lab, right? You're testing the causes and effect of these phenomena that you'll observe in real life. They'll come around your second year at the start of it. And the reason why is because a lot of the topics that you want to explore that are interesting, they're not covered in the first year of your IB. They're covered usually late in your first year to early in the second year. So using these concepts that you learn, you'll then go, okay, let's test this causation, let's test this equation. Okay, what happens when I, for example, change the temperature of a fluid? What happens to the viscosity? What happens to the enzymic activity if I raise the temperature or raise the concentration of enzymes? Or what happens to the heat of combustion of certain fuels if you have longer carbon chain length? These usually come in the late CDE chapters of your science courses. Now, because of this, you'll probably do your labs in mid-September, late September to early October, and you'll be submitting your draft by late November. This will give your teacher some time to give you feedback on your draft, and you'll be submitting your final one by mid-November. This is probably your internal deadline given by your teachers. And the question is, when do you start doing your IAs? And the real answer is that you can't do it because it's an experiment and then you write the report. But the idea phase of coming up with ideas, that's something you need to be doing throughout your first year, from the start till the end of your first year. And the reason why is because it becomes really hard to come up with a good idea on the spot at the deadline. So consider, while you're going through your courses, you learn new concepts, think about what you can do, how you can test them, and see how you can formulate the final idea and choose a topic that you want. And the reason why I focus on IAs for science specifically is because other IAs will differ in deadline. And as an example, for your math IAs, your teacher might push it even after the winter break of your second year. And the reason why primarily is because the topics that will be covered by then is much more useful for math IAs that are more abstract and more useful and applicable. So for example, integrals and derivatives and combinations, statistics, all these stuff are covered later in your second year. Now, another example that's very different is Econ IA. Econ IAs, you'll have to do 3 reports within your 2 years. You'll probably start your report on microeconomics in your first year, and your second one will be at the end of first year or maybe beginning of second year on macroeconomics, and so on and so forth. Now, I'll also be covering a full video writing from 0 to 100 how to write your econ and literally write it out with you on your econ IA, specifically because I had the luxury to get full marks on all 3 of mine. I'm hoping to share with you the tips and tricks on how to get high scores. Okay, the second thing we're going to talk about is TOK. And if you don't know, TOK and EEs encompass 3 out of 45 points in your IB grade. So TOK, there are two things you need to do. One is exhibition and one is TOK essay. So the exhibition, you're going to probably do a mock exhibition by the end of your first year. If your IB coordinator and your TOK teacher is very organized, then you'll be doing a mock in your first year, get a better hang of what you're expected to do, and you'll have to work over the summer and write your exhibition and present it by the start of your second year. And the reason why I'm emphasizing that you work throughout your summer is because this is something that you're able to do over the summer. It's not like Science IA where you have to wait until you do your lab and then write the report. No, you can start very early and get that out of the way. And after you're done presenting in September, you'll submit your commentaries in October and be done with your TOK exhibition. Now, by November, you'll receive the prompts that you need to write for your TOK essays by IB organization. You'll write your TOK throughout November, submit it by late November for your first draft, get some feedback on it from your TOK teacher, make some modifications, and submit by mid-December. Now, this is something that you're not able to do and work on from beforehand because you need a prompt. So it will be in a bit of a time rush. However, I will be covering a full video on this as well, with me writing a whole TOK essay from start to finish based off of previous prompts that I have. I understand that TOK essays are very, very hard because they're very vague, subjective. It's not something you have a good answer to, but there are definitely tricks to getting 8, 9, or even 10. Okay, and so I'll be showing you my essay actually from when I was a student where I scored a 9 out of 10. So hopefully that helps you navigate through TOK essays. Now, next thing I'm going to talk about is your EE. And in case you don't know, EE is a 4,000 word report that you choose your favorite subject to work on. And this is something that you'll probably be working on through the last semester of your second year and submit by mid-February to early March. Okay, and this is something that really differs not even within the school, but with your supervisor. So your supervisor might demand that you submit by January or February or March. It really depends on your supervisor. So make sure to keep up with your supervisor on what you need to do, how you need to do it, and always go for their advice and submit on time. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about university deadlines and when you need to apply by, etc. And these are all very different for the universities and the countries that you're targeting. And in general, the strategy is that before you even start your IB, we hope as people who guide students for university application is that you've already taken a look at your target schools and the programs and what they require, because then it comes into play with what courses you need to take for your IB. And some countries are more strict than others. So as an example, in the UK, if you're targeting, let's say, chemical engineering, then you need to have taken probably math AAHL and chemistry HL. So if you're taking Chem SL, right, then it already disqualifies you from even applying to these universities. So these are really important that you start as early as possible. And if you haven't and you're realizing right now, still in your first year, that your dream university and your favorite program does not allow chemistry SL, for example, then you need to be going to your IB coordinator and talking about if there's any flexibility in changing your courses right now from SL to HL or HL to SL. Okay? Now that I talked about course selection, let's talk about your when to finalize which universities you're applying for. And the best way to do this is to, within your summertime, to look into each universities that you want with your predicted grade and the predicted grade that you think you're going to be able to achieve by the time you're applying, right? You'll probably have a better idea by then and look into the type of universities and the types of programs that you want to go into. This is the best time to research because you're not stressed, you have ample amount of time, and you're able to look through each and every one of them carefully. And this is probably the most time-consuming part. And now that you've decided which university to apply for, now you'll know how many essays you need to write, how many personal statements you need to write, etc. So as an example, in the US, each university will require anywhere from 1, 2, 3 to even 4 essays in order to apply. So let's say you're doing 5 to 10 universities, you're already expected to write anywhere between 5 essays to 40 essays, right? And that's a lot, right? So if you're writing a lot of essays, you want to get started as soon as possible, already in your summer. And by this way, you'll be able to ask your friends, your family members, maybe some professionals for help into how to really write essays for US universities. Now, their essay structure is very, very unique. So if you don't know the tips and tricks to these universities and the way that you need to write your essays, it's not going to be really well received by these universities. So if you're in need of some counseling or some help, then don't hesitate to go to our website at NovaEdgeAcademics.com and reach out to our professionals, and we'll be right there to help you guide through the entire process. Now, this university application essay writing is not just done in the summer. It's something you write throughout your second year in the first semester. But the reason why we encourage to write as early as possible is because, remember, you have your IAs and your TOK essay all piled up right before your Christmas break. And so this is the most stressful time of your IB 2-year diploma program. So you want to get your university stuff already done as much as possible beforehand. And in case you're applying for Oxbridge, for example, for the UK, you'll have to write your personal statement already by October and apply by the 1st of October, sometimes second week or third week by October. So this is something you really need to work on as early as possible. Okay? And then for most of the universities, you'll be applying by deadline of early January to mid-January, sometimes even late February if you're applying to countries like Australia. Okay? So I hope this video was useful. If you really found it useful and you want to show support to our channel, then the best way you can do this is by just clicking the like button, leaving some comments, let's say some questions that you have for us, and subscribing to our channel. We'll be pumping out way more content on US University essay writings, TOK essay writing, physics IA writing or chemistry IA writings, econ IA writings. All of these will be covered in the following weeks by our channel, and hopefully you'll be able to have better grades and better progress in your IB education. So for more content, stay tuned and we'll see you in the next video.